My name's Andrew, and today I want to tell you a story about the fish that didn't get away. Oh heck yeah, dude. Look at that. Woo!
That's what we're looking for, boys. Dude.
Woo! That is epic. I got color.
Nice. What is that? I don't know what that is. Bocaccio.
It's like on one side it looks like a Bocaccio. Well done, sir. Get it. Woo! Shake and bake. What's going on, everybody? I just got back from an amazing fishing trip out on the west coast of Southern California.
The streets of Malibu.
And I took some great rockfish, and among them is what's called a Bocaccio, a really amazing fish that usually swims quite deep among the rockfish. Right now you can see its mouth is closed, but when it comes up it's fully open. It actually looks like a completely different fish by the time it comes up.
I'm going to be a master of disguise.
It depressurizes as it comes from a very great depth. We caught this at around 300 feet deep. I've eaten this fish before. It's a great fish, and I want to show you a recipe that I've used on this fish before that is super tasty. It's like an Asian style whole fried fish finished with an epic spicy sauce that I conjured up, inspired by some awesome Asian dishes that I admire.
You know, I'm something of a scientist myself.
We have a tablespoon of fish sauce, a tablespoon of crunchy garlic and chili, a tablespoon of black sesame oil, a tablespoon of chopped garlic, a squanch load of chopped green onions, a tablespoon of oyster sauce, an entire cup of soy sauce, some Maldon flake salt here, a little bit of dill, 1 lemon, 1 small lime. I have a shallot, some ginger, and of course, star of the show, our fish, Bocaccio, and some regular flour. We're going to use that to braid the fish. Let's get started. I'm going to fillet this, skin it. We're going to take little fish nuggets off both of the fillets. We are going to be cooking the fish all the way through to the frame. I'm not super worried about leaving some meat because it's all going to cook on the frame anyways. Fillet number 1 and fillet number 2. You can see here that most people will throw this fish away like this. Now we have still a lot of meat between all these bones, and we're going to fry this entire fish and then reassemble these fillets back on top. Let's take the skin off. I'm just pressing down against the board with my fillet knife. These are my fillet knives. You want specialty knives for the things you're working on.
Cookie dough. Cotton candy.
And I'm just moving it side to side. There is the skin. We're going to check for any pin bones, which is usually right down that line there. I'm just going to cut that little tiny sliver out. And there you have beautiful fillet of fish. I'm going to continue that cut down there, and then we're just going to cut little fish nuggets.
McDonald's new fish McBites. Fishy, fishy.
And we're going to do the same exact thing here. I'm going to take my flour here. I'm just using flour, we're not making a batter. We're actually going to flour the entire thing. You just want to brush that around with your hand, like so. I've kind of figured this out over the years of doing this, because what happens is you put like 3 cups of flour in the tray and you end up wasting 2/3 of it. That is perfectly exactly what you're looking for. And in the meantime, we're going to bring all of these little fish nuggets over here, like so. And again, we just want to flour them. No salt, no pepper, we're just going to flour them. All of this I'm going to set to the side now, and we're going to build our sauce. We're simply taking all the wet ingredients and we're passing that into this bowl. There we go. All that goodness, we're going to start bringing that together. We're going to take the flake chili garlic. We're going to take the extra garlic that we have here, that's going to go in. Now, bearing in mind that you have a lot of salt already in this dish, we're going to take a really healthy handful and make it even more salty. Hopefully that doesn't trigger salty people.
Oh, really?
Taking some ginger now. Just want a nice ginger pungent kick. When our fish comes out of the pan and it's hot and it's sitting in the plate, we don't want to be pouring a cold sauce over, which lowers the heat of the fish. So we're going to very slightly, I don't want to boil it or simmer it, I just want to very slightly begin to warm the sauce as we're starting to cook the fish. Taking our shallot, going to cut some very thin slices. We're going to flash sear these and a little bit of butter. I'm going to bring that up to temperature. Adding the shallots. So I'm just gonna move these around. I'm using butter because the butter's gonna brown it very, very quick. So I'm just simply gonna take that off and add it to our sauce. We'll mix that in, we're gonna set this to the side. And remember, once we start cooking, we're gonna very lightly on low warm this sauce so it doesn't cool the fish when we pour it and serve it. I have my oil that's coming up to temperature right now. The way you can test that is taking a tiny little piece of flour. You just put it on there and you can see it starts to foam and bubble.
Watching the chef plunge his hands into the scorching oil has become a part of the restaurant's attraction.
That tells me that the oil's coming up to temperature. So let's go for a bath. Oh yeah, look at that. Obviously my pan is, although it's a very large pan, it's not big enough to take this whole fish. I'm doing the head part first and I'm gonna flip it in a second so that we get both sides nice and crispy. Here we go, let's go. Ready? There we go, nice and crispy, boy. What we're gonna do is we're gonna get real creative here and I'm gonna cut the tail off and fry it separately, and then when we're just gonna plate it, it doesn't have to be together. Because thinking harder, not smarter, right?
I'm smart!
One of the things with this is we're gonna let this actually really get crispy. So we want it to start turning, you know, caramelized colors. So we're gonna take this out now. I wanna get as much of this oil off as possible. I have a preheated platter that we're gonna serve on. So now we're gonna essentially plate that like so. No one's gonna know.
Nobody's gonna know.
They're gonna know.
No one's gonna know. I'm actually gonna take each one of these little nuggets and we're just gonna add them in one at a time. You wanna pull them all out at about the same time and not overcook a certain portion of them. So you wanna get them in quick, but don't splash yourself like I just did. Okay, so I wanna move these around a little bit. Just make sure that they're not sitting on one side. Let's get those sitting nice. The thing I love about frying with oil and a little breading is it immediately sears all the faces of the fish or the meat, and it allows all the juices to stay inside. I think we're there, guys. It's gonna bring these in. If you've got a little paper towel in a bowl, it's a great way just to let all that oil drain. I'm gonna rest these, and in a second here, we're gonna bring this entire dish together. Super easy. Let's go. We have our fish, we have our nuggets, we have our sauce, and we have our garnishing condiments, and we have a whole amazing appetite that's been ramping up for the last 30 minutes. Let's get it. I can just feel with my hands how tender this fish is.
It is extremely tender.
We want to present to our guest the fish, and so we're kind of creating a little illusion with all these little nuggets here that essentially are gonna sit where everything was. Taking our spoon, I've had this sauce on a low heat. Like I said earlier, I didn't want to cool this fish. Now you watch what this does to this fish. I'm gonna probably put about half of it on. Look at all that epic flavor. We're gonna take some of our green onions and just sprinkle that all over. Getting a beautiful color contrast now, just very appetizing. And take a little bit of that dill to follow. Taking one of our lemon halves. Let's just dredge up over the top of it. 1/2 lime. Now we're just gonna finish with some salt. You know what time it is, folks? It's that time that is the favorite part of any meal, the part where we get to do the eating. So let's grab a piece of one of these amazing fish nuggets. Let's go in. You know, the thing I love about this fish is it's not overly soft. It's moist, has great texture, and yet it's firm. And so it has kind of a semblance of, not steak, but it's a firmer meat. And I really enjoyed cooking it this way. I have a bunch of friends and family that are here, and in a second we're all going to dive into this because this is designed to be a family feast. I would just really encourage you to do something different. Next time you're out at the fish market or you decide to go fishing, instead of just filleting it and throwing the whole fish away, why don't you do this? Put the whole animal to use and enjoy something very different in you, maybe something that's outside your culture, something you've never tried before. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Stop being a YouTube squatter.
Look at my new house, it's gonna be great!
And let's pay rent by subscribing. I really appreciate your support. We're still small though, and we need to get the Reka gospel out there. So have a wonderful week, and please remember to hit us a comment with a recommendation of a dish that you would like me to take on. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.